An aura of mystery and superstition engulfs every traditional healer's home in Bindu.
Tonga culture, especially in this part of the country, hospitals came very recently. And before that, people were getting sick. And when they were getting sick, some of them were dying from diseases, but some of them were recovering, meaning that there was a form of cure or some form of treatment that was taking place.
This is it. Behind me is the home of a renowned traditional healer. We must get in to find out all about the art of healing. We must, I think.
Zalia Munkul is a prominent traditional healer in Bindu.
Kanene, ana wanzi mwali kuita ngama tupandanida na kuti mwali kuchita nyama.
Tawanda ibu sonda mule mwanga ndi sonda bantu ni baseka.
Bantu banga balibuza uzo sonde kwa ngabaze amapenza ali yini.
Bamwe ngabaza amalwazi, bamwe ngabaza lufu. Wakafidwa hata mwene gabo tope uti muntu wako akafua byana akafuya nzirayi. Na mpano nda uti muntu wako akafua soka na akajigwa bya tamubya na bya. Na mpano nda uti muntu wako akajigwa bya.
So nyobanene bulasonda ngamusirika na musonda kute.
Ndira siriga. Amenda akaza nkini mwana munini ro. Ndali mwana munini so ndakajiswa bulwazi. Iwa utenda pe muri musikendo. Kazondo mina ngoma zakona. Bandu bati ndo mina ngoma yonse ni hata uri kivungu hata uri chimbwaza hata uri nyama masabe. Nyama yani utawepe wakali mpande. Kazondi mina ngoma nyampande. Nachuga. Ndakachuga bakandi pogeda. Bandi bungise wapati bandi presente. Yes. Bandi bungise ndakaza ikuchita ino. Ndakaza kupegwa misamu kuone. Ndugulota bya. Nti imusamu nge usirisia. Ndazokaza uri pangira gatata. Ndakaza kusonda. Ndakaza kusirika manje. Ndakaza kesirika bana banini. Ibulwazi babanini ubuta uri ikusuntuka. Uri masato mwana wanyana. Onda munda kakaziga. Ndira siriga uti muntu mwachero ndira siriga. Uti muntu wali atachifunda ndira siriga. kuti muntu wachiswa wabe chilonda chipati chitapone mvukuzani inga chauka chakumpiro ndasirika chitapona ikusirika ndasirika akukomba manzi kuti vantu vavula manzi nga vasika pali changoma ziziyovera uya kuti tutumba twangu dyadira ngoma asika manzi nasika manzi babola luboputi wakazi ba ibuyo novulya inzembwe dyadira ngoma ndabapingira nzovu ngata zichindi polo uyo ndabukiripe ngandalo tesewa utawa wagete musamutete uzabuza muntu liso.
A lot of mystery surrounds the acquiring of herbs by traditional healers. In this forest and many others around the district lies one of the biggest pharmacies, a natural pharmacy, a pharmacy of traditional Tonga medicine. Among these trees lies roots, leaves, flowers, or a bark that can save a life.
When we look at herbs, it has been given a lot of mystics, but I want to take two definitions, one of which I'll pick it from the ordinary definition. The other one I'll pick it from a biblical perspective. Then we'll pick it from there. When we look at the general definition of herbs from the dictionary, it says it's a culinary and medicinal plant. When you also look at one side of the definition from a theological perspective or from a biblical perspective, it defines a herb as any green plant that can be eaten, that can be used for medicine. So when we look at the two definitions, we see that actually both sides are speaking of one thing. So a herb is for food and also for medicinal purposes.
We're back at the Tonga Museum in Binga. With me here is Sister Senzeni, who is an expert in the art of traditional healing. Sister Senzeni Kamutambo. Angamula tukuzi analwano bakuusiri wa mukutonga bwesu.
Chindi ngautanasika ichibadela. Ibantu baunonga bachiswa imalwazi asiyene. Ali mbuli mutwe. Ikolokolo. Imwida. Naguti imaulu. Bali wamba kuti chifunda. Alumi bakunonga balumwa izgelo. Zibamba kuti nzikwamba. Kunonga zitumwa abantu. Pesi ibantu tesibakali winka pekuzibadela. Kambo ati kwakali bamu bantu bali kubagwasizya malwazi ali mbulinga hayo. Mugosiri kwakweso kwakali bantu ibatatu bali kulangisizigwa. Ibantu kwakali musondi, munganza, amuchapi. Musondi baunonga kuti babona izintu zitelede nakuti mwana wachiswa. Kabatazi kuti kuchiswa kwa zabyeni kambo mubutonga bwesu mundu takali kuchiswa luzutupe. Kwa kunonga kulizimwi zintu ziri kuchita kuti imwana achiswe. So baunonga binka kumusondi. Imusondi baunonga nibasika waberezika inkaba. Inkaba ezi nzizo zali kupandulula kuti kambonzi imwana anachiswa. Kambonzi ipenzi eli nilyapo o amonzi. So ni onanga baba chimbichindi imazembe onanga azwa. Onanga wati musondi onanga wamba kuti imwana nchachiswa. Maybe kuli banyina kwazu kubanyina kulukana kuti kumaisi. Beanda kuti apirirwe kujigwe makande. So onanga babweda poba kwamba imazembe ale imwana wanonga wachitabyeni wapona. Bamu bantu umuntu waunonga watugwasizya muchapi. Muchapi wali kulangisya kapati atala agusilika. Kuti muntu wachiswa nabo ikologolo kana kuti mwida. Waunonga winka ku muchapi. Muchapi waunonga wakumupa imusamu usiyene imusamu ilimbuli imululwe. Waunonga wakwampa musamu oyu makanda amululwe ngingongi bakali kuveresya kuti bandike mu manzi mpo bamupe anwe na chirwazi echa tekachiochera kuenga kupona. Then kuli muntu ngubononga futi ningubali kulangisisya na kuti banjira mu mapenzi imuntu uli mbuli mung'anza imung'anza wali kusirika ankasonda ononga wasonda nkaberesika inkaba azwa kusonda mpo ulaba ambira nziberede kuchita po ulaba pa amsamu uwelede kuti imbulwazi na kuti ichimachise anjide kumuntu ulya kuti na apone.
But how did one become a traditional healer?
Ibang'anza bakunonga balaza munzira izisiyene bamwe balaza kambwa kuti muluzukuluzubo lwavo kuliko kali bang'anza eri mukuba bang'anza abo balanjirwa amba babo bakali bang'anza kuli nguwenya imuntu oyo anjirwa ulachita mbubonya mbuli mbakali kuchita na kuti ngumalume wakwe kana kuti ngusyanyi nakulu kana kuti mbanyi nakulu achita mbubobo ulaba imung'anza mbubo munzira ili njiyeyo nkali kutobezya mbuli mbakali kuchita ibonya. Then bamwe bagaba bachapi mugwindirira muguyesegwa kuti muchindi echo iba syanyi nakulu na kuti banyi nakulu bali kunonga balenda abazulu bawankabo batondezya imiteo isiyene kisirika imalwazi asiyene mugwiya zintu ezyo bamwe bakafuka bamanyi nakulu na kuti baba syanene bakazosyala nkabali kuba ibachapi kawa bali kuba ibasirisi bamwe bali kuba bakaba ibang'anza mugwindirwa mugunjilwa ibabo iba kuluzubo lwabo ikapati mubutonga bwesu tulemezya kubazyali besu kuli bama kunkonku tulangisisya so malume wangu ngungwe undi njira kuti abereke mulindime so kunjirwa kwa malume umuntu ufide mulindime twamba kuti ningozi na kuti malume wakali muntu wakali mung'anza na kuti muchapi na kuti musondi ambebo ngandazoba imusondi so kuti malume waninjira iwakafa ngakwa umwa ingoma nikwa umwa ingoma kubuchedo ngakwa jaigwa inkuku isiya area ngababweza munkuku isiya ngababweza iganzi elianga lyaskane zigwa amiteo isiyene ndiringa lyalisigwa ibubisi elia igazi ndiyo litandi kwaske kuti lindisimye mubung'anza na kuti malume oyo wandinjira akale mulindime abereke mibireko yakwe mulimba akali kuchita kuti nawo akali mung'anza na kuti wakali muchapi kana kuti musondi ambebo nzoba mung'anza kana kuti muchapi kana kuti musondi.
While the art of traditional healing has always been shrouded in mystery, some of the herbs used are the everyday roots and leaves we live with.
Now, when we look at then what was used, we definitely realize that what was available amply were trees around people, grass, and also animals. So meaning that when it comes to what healed people, it was from what was available, which is the trees, the shrubs, the leaves, the roots, and the like. Now, when we look at such a scenario, we also realize that there were two fronts to the process of having a person healed. One front was spiritual, in quotation, who would say, I dreamt, it's my secret, and I treat people. They would only share that knowledge to someone who they prefer maybe when they die. So I called it spiritual because they attached a revelation by a spirit or an ancestor to them to become a special person administering those herbs to sick people. Then there were also elements of what we call conventional knowledge where people knew when you get to a certain place, you discover they are scraping a certain tree, and everyone will be saying, I felt a stomachache, I went and scraped some bark and soaked it and I drank and I'm okay. There was no secret, no mystic powers surrounding that. So there were two fronts that were existing.
The art of traditional healing is mysterious and knowledge is well guarded. A lot of tales are told to safeguard animals and plants that have medicinal qualities.
Ivang'anza vaunonga vatugwasizya lovo mu butonga bwesu kukuvamba inyiga yesu kuti no tutaswanane amu mapenzi asiyene ikapati muzintu nzivakali kuperesya itufuwa itwatunyamankala tusiyene azimwi zinyamankala zipati kuli zimwi zinyamankala zyakutegwa taziligwipe kambo zyali kuperesegwa abang'anza alime kulimisamu nakuti tuteyo tusiyene tutuveresya ezyakutugwazika kuti tutatema imisamu ili mbulimisya vyele ili mbuli musanta mululwe nakuti mwane kambo eimisamu yali kutugwasizya kapati mumalwazi ali mbuli ikolokolo imwida. So ibantu aba bali kubonenkana akuzwata izintu ziri mbuli bulungu itufuwa twatunyamankala tusiyene ponya bali kuperesya nze bati ninkaba ezimbuli oyu nzyajisi awa ezinkaba bali kuziperesya bobu oronga kuti muntu wasiga apenzi iryakwe lyalalyo kata nawamba kuti no uchiswa bulwazi nakuti weta penzi inzi omung'anza walunanga uma nkaba ansi inkaba nziziyo zyali kumwambila kuti ninyamanzi ipenzi imuntu ndyali aliyo alimwe inkaba ezi izyambo zyononga zizwa ikunkaba ezi zitwategwa mazembe alimi mazembe aya bakali kwatoberera akuchita mbulimbo bambilwa amung'anza kuti muntu waumwa ichelo nakuti chikwamba wakunonga imung'anza wamutemuna insimbo amutemuna insimbo wamuchumba amusamu unga watwigwa baba bunsunso umwe musamu waunonga wapegwa kutegwa bamufwebesye bamufowesa mpo ulachita byeni ulabuka imalwazi ali mbuli imakolokolo nakuti mwida mung'anza waunonga wasika miyanda ya misamu isiyene imiyanda eye unonga ilatobekwa mumanzi endi mung'anza wali unonga ulalailila kuli uoyo muntu uli mukatika machise kuti anwe manzi alya miyanda ila manzi kwa mazuba ali musanu kanwa kuseni isikati agogo imiyanda eye nakuti makwa amusamu ngakali kutwigwa kuti bube bunsunsu upegwe kumundu oyo uli kuchiswa alimu kuti walumwa inzoka ibang'anza balao imusamu oyo bali kuwajana kumafuta amboma nchi chimwe chikumba chibakali kuperesya musamu oyo imboma mafuta aba unonga bakweza mafuta bavwengana aimi mafuta azimwi inzoka. So unanga kuti walumwa nzoka imung'anza ulakumisya mafuta alya amboma then ulapona takweni bonanga bagonkwa maulu pena nansika walumwa inzoka ili buti bali kulangisisya futini ibang'anza kuti imuntu iwakulowa wakuperesya nyamanzi kuti nkali waperesya ichikwamba bali kunonga mung'anza winka kumunzi wako wakubvisya ichikwamba mbuli nzovene ezi zimwe zyakona zirabonenkana muli kunkoyi otu then amwana wazimwe even kwabalufu bononga balinka kumung'anza kuti akabapandukide mubinda munkaba ezi kuti ilufu olwaza buti kambo mubutonga bwesu tawe ilufu luza luzutupe kambo lonse lufu luza kambuka kuti muntu wachitwapeni waloegwa nasika muntu apenga mumpule baunonga bayenga kumung'anza au mankaba ulapandula kuti wapa kuti muntu oyu azuzuluke na kuti apenge ni nyamanzi chimwichi ndi unonga mung'anza uladombola kuti muntu wa mwamba uli umubwene ngowe na kuti uli kumuzuzizika ngowe chimwichi chindi chinge unonga muntu uli awitwa aitwa mpoko lapadalwa imbono izisiyene iziyakuti muntu oyu imulandu umane.
African traditional religion and healing has of late been considered as unholy and satanic.
As times change, we began to also realize that Christianity was now being embraced by some people along the way. Now, when the whites came, not all of them had that particular thinking, but some of them were mixing their white culture with Christianity in the Bible. And when they came, they denigrated anything that was about the black people, the Tonga people in particular, as evil. Meaning that the herbalists and the common indigenous knowledge system is being thrown out.
Ivanganza taruchibabone mazuba ano gambo ga bukale bwesu bwasiga kwa mazuba no busiyene ika pati kulitwalangiza sika ichikirisito tachizumini pe atala abanganza na kuti muchapi kana kuti musondi gambo akuti bamba kuti winka kumunganza nziso sizibi munganza ngusatani.
The people embraced like that kind of approach to Christianity also began to feel anything called a herb is evil. Now, when we go into the Bible, right from the first book of the Bible, before sin came into the world, when God was still giving responsibility to the man he had created, and also still blessing him for the things that would come. One of the things that is very particular, it's in chapter 1. When God had just created a man in verse 26, and then verse 28, he is giving blessings and responsibilities. And then in verse 29, God says, and he gave them herbs for food. When we cross into the New Testament, we see this man John, who was a disciple of Jesus Christ, also speaking about the same thing that rhymes with Ezekiel and Genesis. In chapter 22, verse 1 and 2, he was talking about what he had finished speaking in chapter 21. And he says, in the new city of the Lord, the new Jerusalem, in the middle of the city streets will be trees that heal nations. And since there shall be a big river, and the river will also be lined up with trees, they will be producing fruit enough for every month, for 12 months. And the leaves will be for the healing of nations. So when we are looking at these things, we begin to realize that the herbs themselves, the trees that God has given us, they are actually meant to help us, feed us, and then also keep our bodies in functional status. I think where Christianity and that type of a private management of what should be helping people, where it conflicts is the source of the knowledge. When we are looking at Christianity, we are saying common knowledge is for everyone. Revelation knowledge should come from God through Jesus Christ, revealed to us by the Holy Spirit and in agreement with the scriptures. While this other one who says, I dreamt, the source of that dream is not fitting into any of this line that is believed by Christians. So that means it is an opposite source. In that case, it becomes a problem for example, Christians to allow this kind of a person to administer what they want to do, because it's involving spirits, according to Christian faith belief. However, the conventional knowledge that is open, no spirit associated with that, is not a problem to an informed Christian.
With the advent of Christianity and modern hospitals, the art of traditional healing is now frowned upon by the new generation of Tonga.
Wow, that was intriguing. I wasn't even scared in the least bit. Whether you believe in African traditional religion or not, make sure to consume natural foods and herbs. They are good for your health. I am Elino Studios. Join us in the next episode as we look at the art of traditional music, Walumba.